It's a great business to be in. We're in customer service. At least I am as a residential HVAC business. And I love it because I like that interaction with every customer and being able to do that, look them in the eyes and form a relationship. Like, we almost look forward to seeing each other. Like I said, the dude with the bourbon, he has a new bottle for me. He's sitting there as soon as I walk up into his garage. I'm like, what's up? It's all about building relationships.
Welcome to The Boost, a podcast for home service contractors. We explore leaders and innovators in home services, their personal journeys, thoughts, and experiences with growth, marketing, and succession. We cover the good, the bad, the ugly, and its ultimate impact. Hello, everybody. Thanks for being here. Welcome to another episode of The Boost. I'm Zach Wilson, Chief Marketing Officer of Local Digital Marketing. Today, we have Jacob Krauss, content creator, Koolin with Kraus, HVAC Knights Co-Host, and co-owner of the new and infamous Bizzy Air. Ba-dum-bum-bum.
Let's go. Let's go.
Good release of the wrap. Was that this week? I don't know.
Yeah, that
Like it was
this
this week. Right here, insert new
Bam.
wrap.
There it is. Sick.
Yep, I saw it. Looks good.
I'm looking at it right now.
Bizzy Air is getting busy with your texts, but don't get stung, right?
That's it, man. That's all it's about. It was kind of a funny concept. It's like, how do you, I don't know, appear not busy by naming it busy? And, but like, it's a whole thing, like further down the road with marketing it, like busy home. You know what I mean? Because we're always busy, like everybody. So,
What was it formerly known as?
so the business was B&G Air Specialists. They were around for 35 years. It was a dude, Glenn. He started the business whenever 35 years ago was. And he ran it, got up to about 10 techs. Then they kind of just slowed it down. And it was a father-son business with a wife, was basically in the office doing all that stuff, like the admin. He probably still would have been running it, but during 2020, COVID, right? And he caught COVID and he had complications and died.
Wow,
So
that's crazy.
yeah,
That's
so
crazy.
he was like an old school, gritty, that whole thing. Then his son tried to run it for a few months. From what I understand from customers, didn't have the passion with it from working with his dad, because I don't know if you know how that can be, but it can be rough. Then they put it out there and it was purchased.
Yeah, so the acquisition, some people are out seeking for a shop to buy. Some people get a broker. Some people have a friend. What was that journey like for you? And I should say your
Yeah, so that,
partner.
like I said, this is a very unconventional way, the way we have this partnership set up. He bought the business. He's paying whatever it is per month. Pays 5,000 a month to the wife of the, until we pay it off. It's a bizarre thing. Like I said, unconventional. We're at 45, 55, and it's my sweat equity that I'm putting into this that granted me that position. You talk to anybody and they would be like, dude, that's stupid. Why would you do that? But the dude is such a good-hearted person, and I'm blessed and fortunate to have been in that position. We're just here for the ride, you know what I mean? So I'm excited. But yeah, that's what it was. Like, do you talk numbers on here? Is that like the thing?
Yeah, whatever you want to say.
Obviously, he's not here. Like I know, so he purchased it for 180. I want to say at the time of purchasing, it was like 650 or seven. It's what they were doing, and then they're paying themselves 90, and then like the net was 14% maybe. It's funny because it's like they say you want to buy a business you don't have to work in, but he bought the business and it has to be worked on. It's the same thing. The people who were running it, they were working in the business. So the reason it ended up going the way it did, he had another business where he was with a bunch of buddies. It was a private equity thing, had another company over here locally, and with a bunch of dudes. So it didn't work out the way he wanted it to. So he wanted to do this himself, did that, and then it was like, hey, I got this business over here. Can you help me? And I was like, first I was like, nah, because it was like an hour like from where I live. And here I am driving an hour to and fro every day. It's working. I'm so pumped from where we started to where we are now. Growing pains though, definitely. But yeah, those are like the gist of how he acquired it, did the whole thing. I forget what the where he went through, but you sign the NDA to get all the stuff and all that so you can find out who it is.
He used a broker or an intermediary.
I would assume so,
Yeah.
to be honest.
If he signed an NDA, well, I guess you could sign a letter of intent to get all that. So depends. But yeah, I mean,
that's the route because we're still paying on it. So yeah. Yeah, probably went through the whatever that like the firm for that stuff is. It's hot in my garage. Sorry, I'm sweating.
Are you really?
Yeah, I was like,
What's the temp outside down there?
God, it was definitely approaching 90 today, man. I tell you what.
Whoa.
Well, right now it says it's 78, but it was definitely like 87. But we're here for it. Next week,
Yeah.
like I said, I was telling you, we got that duck job. So
The busy season, right?
it is.
Start making some money.
Yeah, gotta make that buzz. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah,
Busy
exactly.
buzz.
When did the deal all finalize? When did you start operating as co-owner and all that?
So this was about probably 6 months ago. It was just kind of one of those things. It was a napkin deal. You know what I mean? Like, hey, this is what it's going to be. I'm like, nah, like we need this thing to go further. And we really like hashed it out and talked about it and nailed it down. Just had the same vision and goals of where we want this thing to go. And it's worked out. It's just an opportunity I didn't think I'd have. And the homie's making it happen.
You got to start somewhere, right? You mentioned it was a napkin deal. Did you guys take it beyond the napkin?
Like when we first started, it was just like, hey, this is the idea. This is what we're gonna do. You know what I mean? Like, okay, cool, yeah, sounds great. And then like it started getting real, and at that point, I was like, I had to figure out what I was really gonna do. It's like, is this what I'm gonna do? I gotta go another direction. You know what I mean? And fortunately, we hammered it out, and here we are today.
So your relationship with the partnership, it was very symbiotic in a lot of ways because you're front of the house, if you will, customer facing, doing boots on the ground, and he is, you said sales and marketing back of the house, right? And that's a great start. What do you guys have for CSR? And
What you see now, like I've recently started posting, is like it's really just starting to really take off now. So I've been here for about 2 years. We've been like just talking the shit that we always talk, like, hey man, we're gonna do this, that, and the third. He's got his hands all over the place, man. Like he was still working at that other company I was telling you about, and he couldn't get out of that. There was a whole mess there. So we were just here doing like the day to day. So our CSR is his sister, just handles the phone calls, all that stuff, books it, and then I just run it. It was just us two. And fortunately, we inherited such a great customer base that Glenn had already built. Like the foundation was there. So it's like we didn't start from scratch. The way I say it is we started like from ground zero. There was something there. We just had to build upon it. That's what we did. We just continued like the first year. It was like, hey, we're going to honor all the previous maintenances, everything like that, to just make sure you see the face. We approach you. It's still the same company. It's going to be the same type of atmosphere. You know what I mean? We don't want it to be like a different tech every time that somebody comes through the door. We're going to know everything about this piece of equipment, this, that, and the third. Me and her just handled all that. I would say, hey, this is what we need for the job. Touch base with the distributors and all that, the supply houses, get what we needed. And till about 2 months ago, I mean, we were just operating out of my garage basically. Anything I had, I just would throw in here, stock and all that. Now we still don't have a brick and mortar. We just have a storage unit. Yeah, it's something, dude. And it's funny because we just were like, we're gonna get a 10 by 10. That's all we need. Fortunately, we ended up getting a 10 by 20 because the 10 by 10 just didn't work with where we were, and it's filled up. You know what I mean? We'll take old units because what we were doing is it's a whole thing. We were giving our installs. I was everything. I was the salesman. I was the repairman, maintenance man, service tech. Everything you name it. I was there. He wasn't. It was fine. Like I was cool with it, but I wanted more, and I needed him to be there so it could alleviate me from some of those tasks. So what we were doing, we were subbing out the installs, and they were just getting the scrap. So I was like, dude, we can just put that in house, our storage unit, right? Put a couple extra dollars in the kitty. That way we have it. You know what I mean? All that little shit adds up, obviously. And yeah. So it's just starting to go. It's exciting. Like I'm pumped.
that's great. When you wake up in the morning and you put 2 feet on the ground, you need some fire under your ass to, you know, get the rest of the way up. And that's what'll do it for you, right?
Oh yeah.
So that's sweet. What are just you mentioned earlier you guys were on the same page in terms of your goals and your vision. What is that? What did that look like?
The biggest thing for me is like as I'm a technician first, right? So and it's always going to be that way for me. Building a culture, right? You hear that with all these really big companies. Hey man, you got to have that culture, and we do, and we'll be able to vibe with people. It's gonna be a place people want to work at, but we're gonna give the a dope service to the customers. Everybody says the same thing, but you actually got to do it, but you got to back it up with the technical side too. So we do the trainings and all that stuff. We know our shit, you know what I mean, and we do it right. It's just crazy the amount of stuff that you go behind where obviously, chucking a truck and all that good stuff, you're going to have to pay for it twice because it wasn't done right the first time. We want that environment. We want it just to be like a really cool place people want to work at. We want to give the customers good sense of service. We want to be in the community, which is really awesome. He just got on one of the in his county, his board, and we're getting involved in my board here. My wife will probably do something with that just because she can do that type of stuff. In terms of like exit strategies and all that too, we're not really sure about anything like that. We want to definitely target, first hitting the milli mark because we're small. It's just me right now in the field, and scale it up, man. 5 million here, 10 million. Everybody has those big. I mean, not everybody. Some people like staying small, right? We do have those dreams and aspirations to have just a badass company.
Yeah, well, that's great. That's what will get the heart pumping and you moving, right? You got to set goals, right? You said year one, you're technically in year two, right? It was only 6 months ago, you said, but you're technically in year two. I mean,
Yeah,
is that just based on
that
the
would
calendar
be.
year?
Yeah, if you just
It's a new year. We can call it a new year. Doesn't matter at the end of the day. What are you doing differently this year than last year in terms of meeting your first goal? How are you going to increase revenue or improve? Margins are hard to improve when you're one person, let's be honest.
just raise the prices. That's the easiest thing, right?
Yeah, there you go.
Like, oh, we're just gonna throw 100 here. Honestly, the biggest thing. It's only been a week. Showing up professionally, right? Getting the van wrap. We did the mailer thing.
What's your kit look like? Do you show up like a queen bee?
Yeah, I put like a little bun up in my hair and everything.
Your striped suit?
Yeah, all day long. No, man. We want to be the bee. So like the wrap looks cool and all that jazz. So it's so funny. I was talking to the guys on the nights about it. So I got three shirts, right? This is just like one of my regular shirts, but it's like a t-shirt, right? So when we're doing like sweaty work, we're gonna wear that. And then I have a Nike polo one that's branded, yada yada, for when I go do estimates and sales. I'll pull my hair back, kind of make it clean up a little bit. And then we got like a garage tee. So when we show up, we have that with the other tee underneath. So, it looks professional with everything tucked in, and appearance is a big thing.
I talk about this a little bit, but nobody wants to see the plumber crack or even just a disheveled, sweaty, dirty tech come into their house. It's the number one thing, my personal bugaboo, but I will pay a lot more money for someone to come in that's clean, doesn't get the floors dirty, doesn't run into the walls, doesn't drop their tools on my floor, like just takes care of things. Here's a great one for you. Here's a tip. I don't know what your clientele is. Is it high end, low end, medium?
Yeah, I would go like medium to high.
Even medium high, I would say. I'm in Cincinnati, Ohio, and there's a company here that does appliance repair. And so they're kitchens, right? And their thing is they come in, they put on their clips, not the covers, but clip boots, rubber clip boots that clip
Yeah.
over their shoes.
Okay.
Number one. Number two, wherever they're working, they lay out a huge mat that's like this thick,
Yeah,
right? Yes.
for sure.
Yes, for sure. I don't want you dropping tools on my wood floor. And invariably, every time someone comes into my house that isn't those people, they
Yeah.
damage something every time. I mean, if there's any tip, this is just me, the customer side, just cover your working area. Either take off your shoes or cover your feet. It will go such a long way for anyone that works in someone's home.
For sure. Yeah, no, that's big. I got like a really nice set of booties that are like they're like $60, right? And they're washable and all that good stuff. I definitely rock those when I go in there.
The elastic ones or the
Yeah,
clip-ons?
they don't clip on, but they're like
Okay.
they're not like the chinchy. Like it's got a really nice membrane on them and stuff. It's got like a rubber bottom, but they're elastic, and then the top part's like waterproof. It's like two pieces. I heard this from I don't know if you listen to Jason Walker, HVAC Masters of the Hustle, but his thing was always if he was putting them on, someone would say, no, 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 don't worry about it. He's like, hey, I'm here to leave an impression on you and not your floors. You know what I
Right.
mean? I stole that, and I'll do the same thing because
Everybody should steal it. Everybody
yeah,
on the planet should steal it. It will
oh,
do the industry a lot of good if everybody on the planet steals that.
yeah, because like you said, when you were asking about the clientele thing, to be honest, like the people that would be say lower end, they were more particular about that type of stuff than the higher end folk, and treat every customer the same way, and it's easy peasy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah. And that's a good thing to think about and remember is that you should treat everyone equally for sure. Going back to the changes you're making this year, what else does that include?
got more admin access, doing the whole service titan thing, getting it on there, doing the whole follow up on the estimates because we'll create the estimates and That was one thing we were failing like the first years. Like we weren't following up. We were busy. We were busy. Bizzy Air. It'll just continue to go. Office staff wasn't following up on them because that's typically how I was used to doing it, right? Like I close out my job, they see the estimates, they touch base with the customer. Hey, Jake, I saw he left all these estimates. What do you think? Da da da. And that wasn't happening. And then things would just fall by the wayside. But now we're catching up to that stuff. So that's one big thing we're doing. It's just getting involved in the community, getting on all the Facebook pages. Like in my neighborhood, we got about 400 homes here, and on the Facebook group, you got to get approval to get on there. So we got that, all that stuff, and then we made a special promotion for our neighbors. Right, we'll waive the dispatch fee or whatever, obviously, because we're right here. It ain't no thing. And then we're offering a special maintenance plan where it's 2 visits a year for $99. I think that's a great deal. Our typical price is $199.
Let's just talk about that real quickly. So your neighborhood specifically,
Mm-hmm.
400 homes,
Mm-hmm.
you did a flyer.
So we did do specific mailers, right, for our
Okay.
neighborhood.
What did
A
that
face.
look like? New branding?
Yeah, so I don't have anything here,
That's all
but
right. You can describe it.
nobody here was using it. But for like the older market, we sent out to all of our existing customers. B&G is now Bizzy Air, and it has the old
Mhm.
logo kind of with the new. And we've been going to customers this past week, and they have it out. It's like pretty cool. They're like, "Oh, that's so awesome!" But for here, we're just like, "Hey, we're your neighbors. We're here to serve." I was telling you earlier with the military background, we're like, military owned and operated business and stuff like that. We're here to serve the community like we were serving. It's just something that just reiterated that. It's like a little yellow card to be on it. And with also the Facebook group, because that's like the big thing. A lot of people do that for just the community where the posts are like, hey, who uses this? Who uses that?
Right, right.
And then with the new van wrap, all the neighbors were like they didn't know what I did. I mean, before I just had a white van out here.
You were like Dexter.
Yeah, right. Like I'm like, like just sitting out there, like, oh my
He goes
god.
into his garage late at night
Yeah, every
night.
time. Yeah, it's like, what is he doing? I saw one of the neighbors across the street, and he was like, "Oh my gosh, I love the van." I was like, "Kind of pops, right?" It was like, "Yeah." And it's funny because he just got a new unit, like probably a year and a half ago. I wasn't living here yet. The company, it's a bigger company, that premium company around here, and they were out here like every day for the next 2 weeks after they installed it. You know what I mean? And
Really?
yeah, and
No way.
I would drive by real slow on my way home after. Should have called. You know what I mean? It was already too late. That's one of the things we're doing here in his neighborhood. He's doing the same thing. Like we're trying to target our community. The biggest thing, right? Lock our community.
I'm long on that strategy. Our entire tagline is based around that. And the hypothesis is if you can't conquer your own neighborhood or dominate your own neighborhood, how are you going to dominate one that's 30 miles across town? All of it stems from you got to layer on all of these different channels for marketing. You're talking about Facebook groups, you're talking about social, you're talking about digital flyers, maybe middle school, high school down the road, outfields, etc.
Yeah, the banners and all that stuff.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah. You got to get in on all that and you got to sprinkle your seed all over the community and shake those hands and the word will get round. And once you get that critical mass, you can start to work out. But until you get that, you're just dead in the water.
No.
And then, then you can start reaping the benefits of having a proper website and, people actually searching Bizzy Air and going to the website and scheduling an appointment and all of these things that end up falling in place just by doing that. I'm a digital person, right? So I am all digital. I love digital. There's no ands, ifs, or buts about it. But you've got to also lean on those traditional methods. Digital alone is not going to take you to the promised land. It's just not. You've got to be smart about how you use those dollars and how you use as you said, your sweat in the community, just talking to people.
For sure. Like that's what rocking the t-shirts when we go out and about, right? Things like that. We did the yard sign, we got the feather sign, we did the install the other day. You know how many people stopped? We gave out about 6 cards to people that were walking in the neighborhood, and it was a tiny neighborhood, 7 houses on the street.
What did you say? A feather sign?
The feather flags, like the
Oh,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah,
we
yeah.
got one of those. We got a bunch of the little the bandit signs, right? You stick them in, you probably gone in 30 minutes. We got the pens, so when you go to the restaurant, dude, you just drop these to the servers, because they love pens, right? And then they got like 20 of them there at the restaurant, and they're passing them to everybody.
You guys can write a book on guerrilla marketing here. You
Dude,
guys are all over it.
we're trying to, and that's like the exciting part, right? And then finding out what works, what doesn't work. You know it. Hey, did this promotion work or did this one work? We got to follow this one. We're at the point where, like, we're getting a separate number for a different type of promotion, so we can track that one. Past 2 weeks is really kind of like, we had a shitty February. January was pretty good for us, and we're like, man, if it just continues this year, because January is usually pretty slow for us, continues like this, we're gonna take it off. And then February is just like, man, but like, we got the mindset, we're ready, we're here for it, man.
March is going to start to come, especially if it's 87 degrees right now.
Yeah,
All of you
it's
may not know this, but or if we already said this, I guess we did kind of say it, but you got stuck on the highway, you got some late jobs. We are rolling into the night, which is why we have our blue collar beers.
that's it. Yeah, in case you forgot. I mean, it was later. Like, I was like, man, this was a job actually where somebody was just doing the house and they hired some shit ass contractor that didn't do the work right. And it was just terrible quality. It was just so bad, dude. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know who it was. It looked like Harry Homeowner maybe did it. We had to go in there and essentially do a whole new install. You know what I mean? After I just did a leak repair on a line set and things like that. But we want to take care of our customers. That's just what we had on the books, man. And it just took a little longer because it was a crappier job than anticipated.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it was good you were able to do it all while you're there. Going back to this year, if there's one thing list of goals like that
Mm-hmm.
you want to accomplish more than anything, what is it?
Mine would just be like, dude, maybe it's vanity, but like, hit 1 million. Sounds very small and basic for some people, but for a small one man operation right now, hit 1 million would be awesome. And I know it's achievable. We're putting the right avenues, got the right stuff out there now. Our infrastructure is built to do it, and then we can do it and just build upon it. I'd love to have another tech on the road. That would be pretty awesome, to where it's not just me. If I target my area, we can get another tech up in the other part of the area where I typically work at anyways. We'll just conquer and divide, which would be fantastic. That's like a vanity thing though.
It's an aspirational goal for sure. You've now said it live. We'll make a little short of that and
For
I'll send
sure.
it
Yeah.
to you. So you every morning you're like,
Damn.
God
Like,
damn it, why did I
yeah.
say this on the
Who said
internet?
that crap? Like, that's the business goal, right? There's definitely personal goals that are different than that. For business, that's what we want to achieve. Anything above that, I think, would just be obviously awesome.
When you got into the business and started looking at things, like what did you look at? Did you look at your existing customer base, where they were located, how many customers you had that had older units? What are you guys kind of trying to examine and really like lean into this year that you inherited from? Do you know the answer to this? How many customers did you quote unquote buy?
I want to say the customers, like in total, that was in there was probably like 1,500. I don't know how many that maybe were seen or not seen.
You said the purchase price was 180.
Yeah. Does that sound right? When I came on board, he had already purchased it. They were using, I forget what CRM they were using at the time, but then when I would go into House Call Pro, which what we start all that stuff translate, I'm like, golly, there was just a shit ton of customers in there, right? Now, a lot of those, maybe some of those hadn't been touched in years. It could have just been transactional customers that were just still in the database. Again, that's where we fell short, right? We weren't reaching out to them. And that was like something I would reiterate because I was like, I can't, as me being the field guy, I couldn't sit here and touch all these customers like, hey, we haven't been to your house in 2 years. Da, da, da. You know what I mean? That's where we're at now. Like I was telling you, he finally got away from there probably about August. So that was what, 6 months ago or so. And now that's where we started to get into the groove of this. Like, hey, we're going to touch X, Y, and Z. Haven't been here. Let's do this. That's really what it is. We examine like now with the CRM, we put the dates in on what the system is, put all that model and serial number info. So that way we have it all logged. And then we can just go through and we can just do an email blast or something goofy like that with a template and send it out to the people that have older systems and things like that.
That's the value in having 1,500 customers versus starting with zero, right? You can do a reactivation campaigns. You can do a age of unit campaign. You can do maintenance campaigns. You can do anything with those. Some of them may just tell you to go, you know what?
Yeah.
Take a hike, but that's the cost. That's pretty good. So it works out to about $120 a customer, which sounds pretty cheap.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, they were pretty cheap. If I had to, be honest, when you would look back on things, you're like, oh my gosh, how did you survive? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but
I
that's just
mean,
the way. But that's like that old school mentality where, you know what I mean?
but from the buyer side, sadly, there's a lot of small businesses that get into this position, which
Hmm.
is, well, I'll take something, $180,000 versus letting this literally just evaporate and be zero. Because
Yeah.
that's probably what they were faced with. Like,
Oh, for
because they
sure.
just didn't know. Yeah. So
Yep.
win-win, right? They walk away with a 2 years salary, basically, based on what you said, and you walk away with a customer database and starting point, which isn't zero, right? I
Exactly.
mean,
That's like I said, like this isn't from scratch. It's definitely just revitalizing it. And to be honest, we haven't had much kickback. I mean, there was some times where people would say, like a big community we do work for, some people aren't liking this because we did do an email, hey, that B&G was purchased by X, Y, and Z. You know what I mean? At the time, he had a different name. That was a whole thing. Well, I'll let you talk to him one day. Now they're getting this one, but it was they were getting into like, so who did you merge with? And it wasn't a merger, it was just bought out.
yeah,
But that's how it was perceived.
new ownership can be spun in a million different ways, right? It's like,
Yeah.
hey, you were underserved by previous owner, and now we're going to serve you better. Or the other half is like, I loved Joe or
Yeah.
whatever,
Yeah.
like I don't want to work with anybody else, right? So you're damned if you do, damned if you don't, and you got to press on. But so you guys are doing flyers right now. You're
Hmm.
doing pens. We saw the
Of
pens.
course, yeah, gotta do the pens.
Wraps. You said you are doing some billboard, not billboards, more community banner
Yeah, so
stuff.
another thing. Yeah, so we got the banners made up to go, put in the outfields and all, like you said, like in schools and all that good stuff. We're getting the tent, everything wrapped on the tent, getting the tablecloth thing that's we're getting the elastic one, but it has the opening in the back with the two banners on the side that's gonna have different things like, hey, list this, list this. You know what I mean? Like we're gonna have that whole presentation, like if you go to, because there's a lot of they'll do farmers markets and things around here. You go set up down there, dude, just be cool and like pass out shit. I don't know, just you know what I mean. But like we're there and have our kids there, man. The kids are running around and rocking little B shirts or something like that. Yeah, we're getting that made up. We were gonna do it online, but we're going local. It was like $100 cheaper, but it's better material and hats. A perk of me doing YouTube, right, is I get a bunch of shit that's sent to me or they'll ask to send to me. So I'm getting a laser engraver and we're gonna do like our own like little freaking signs and like Tumblr, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. That's like cool, but it won't be like corny. You know what I mean? Like people are like, I don't want this.
Unfortunately, here's the tragedy, right, of different marketing channels is it's can only take you so far. You only have so many people that can do so many trade shows and so many community booths. And this is why I think it's so important to be omni-channel because you kind of have to be everywhere right now. Like you've got to sprinkle a little on TikTok. You've got to sprinkle a little in Facebook groups. My wife is a great example. She doesn't touch anything but Facebook. Nothing.
Yeah,
If you're trying to reach her, you're not going to reach her unless you're doing it on Facebook. You're
exactly. Yeah.
you're a great example, right? Like our intro, you're like, I don't use Instagram. I never get these messages. Sorry.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Straight up, I'm like,
You're like, I'm like,
uh
you're posting like every day on Instagram, but like, it's
that
like,
only hey, that only recently started happening about 2 weeks ago. I will say that because I was like, I see everybody else like they'll post and like I just want some free shit, dude. That's gonna help the business. Give me some press tools, you know what I mean? Send me something. I'm like, all right, this will make my job a little bit easier. I can get to the next call. We can pass this on to the next tech, we know when he comes on, things like that. And
yeah,
that's what that to be honest, like that's my goal with that is like it'll help the business. Like me looking at getting that laser engraver, I would have never like, what do I need that for? It's like a $1,500 thing. Like that's cool, but they need me to do something with it. So one of the cool things I was thinking is like everybody puts their stickers on like the condensers and stuff. They fade away. Basically, engrave
oh,
the
this
like a
is genius. Yeah,
yeah,
I like
right.
it.
Well,
Yeah.
God, I can't be
Etch,
talking. Yeah, etch it
yeah,
right
etch
in
it
there,
in.
and then
Yeah.
I'm a rivet it on the condenser, dude. Like that will never fade. It'll always be there until some asshole puts a sticker over it. But I think that's like yeah, right. Like that's dope. I think that'll be fire.
What do? You etch a little plate and then solder it on, or how are you going to
No,
get
no,
it
no.
to
It
stay
it
up
it
there?
it goes right. It's an laser engraver. It goes right
No, I
into
know
like
that, but how do you get it on the machine? How are you
I,
going to
I
get
would
it to stay on the machine?
I'd probably rivet it.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah, okay.
drill a
That's
couple
what
holes. Yep,
I said solder, but I meant rivet.
that's
Yeah,
the
right.
same concept, right? You ain't getting that off unless they just put their sticker. That's another thing we're doing, the stickers with the your checklist on it, and then it's like, hey, here's three things or whatever. I think it was three things, three or five of things to do before you give us a call. And then another thing is what Q's doing is he's doing the Facebook thing, like post where it's like, hey, if you have an issue, check these things. Like it's building that trust in that community because if you can kind of semi remedy and fix it in the meantime until we get there, or at least we're willing to help you. Like we don't need to sit here and like rob you. And there's people in the comments like, oh, I'll come over to your house right now and do it for $120. Like, nah, dude, don't hijack my post. You know what I mean? It's got a lot of like impressions and stuff like that, which is pretty awesome. Like this most recent one we just did, I want to say it was like Tuesday, 1,100 plays, which is pretty good on the newly founded Bizzy Air Facebook page or whatever.
1100 is good for a local HVAC shop. That's very
Yeah,
high.
man. Yeah. Well, I'm like,
I
let's
mean,
go, bro. We're pumped. Like, it's exciting. Like, those little things like that kind of make it worthwhile. Like,
sprinkle your seed, dude. Sprinkle
that's,
your seed. Just like procreation. You're just trying to create more little busy bee customers.
yes. That's it. That's all we got. Yeah. Come on to the B. But like, you hear like these other like marketing folks or not HVAC companies we listen to, and it's like, I was hesitant on having a mascot. That was my thing. And then, he was like, nah, but you gotta have it. Like Dan Antonelli, right? Things like that. Like you gotta have this. And I'm like, do you? But we're here now and we gotta be.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it is what
Yeah.
it is. We got a damn bee. I wanted a gator, but because of
Yeah.
Florida gator.
Little too trite for Florida. Everyone's a gator down
Yeah,
there,
like
right?
even this septic company called Brownies and their their mascot's a gator. So I was like, okay,
Wait, I don't get it. Bro, what's brownies?
that's the name of the company. It's a
Well, I know, but
it's septic. Like
oh, gotcha.
yes. Oh, that's kind of clever, but I was like, nah, dude, ours would have been like Gator Air, Gator. I don't like instead of
Yeah.
Gator. I don't know, something stupid. It wouldn't have worked. I knew it wouldn't have. So we rode with this. It's funny.
It turned out great. I look forward to seeing more of it. In terms of a couple closing questions, but let's just say if you were to go back to the beginning of when this all started, would you do anything differently? And if so, what would you do differently? Anything.
Biggest thing would just be like follow-ups. I mean, honest to goodness, like that would have like saved a lot of headache. We would get calls like, "Oh my gosh, I forgot who it was." You know what I mean? Just do the follow-up, just stay ingrained in their brain and close the deal per se, right? And that's the biggest thing. Instead of just be like, "All right, I'm home for the day." Because if you would have those nights and I get it. And like at least do like the next morning, "Hey, Mr. and Mrs. Smith." That's the biggest thing. What would be follow-ups.
This is anecdotal, but very different business, my business from your business. But I always tell people in any business, if someone wants something, they will obviously find you, right? And in the world of HVAC and refrigeration, HVACR, when these things go wrong, it's very intent based and it's very urgent. So you don't have a ton of time to monkey around and play these games. Like most people just want to get it fixed and they want to get it fixed now. And
Mhm.
I mean, there is a function of, especially for installs, right? Maybe you can speak to this, how many people you feel. I got to be honest, as a consumer, I think shopping is smart, especially now. There's so much like, what hardware am I going to get? What am I getting? What's the price? Is this a $5,000 install or a $20,000 install? For that install, what am I getting? What is the difference between the $20,000 estimate from this guy and the $5,000 estimate from this guy and the $10,000 from this guy? Are you buying a bigger unit? Maybe the wrong size unit. There's education behind that. Is it just a better unit, right? And you have to pay a premium for, a name brand unit versus a more generic white labeled unit? Or, is this solution have zoning? There's so many things. And I think that the customers, while they want solutions and they want them fast, there is a lack of education by salespeople and the HVAC companies in terms of educating them on what they're actually buying. Like I'm going out and I'm giving you an estimate for $7,595. Okay, great. Well, five other guys are coming in and, going to be at $8,000, $7,000, and $250. Well, what is the difference? And you're going to walk in with your queen bee suit, so I'll remember you. But at the end of the day, am I going to pay an extra $1,000 for a bee suit? Probably not. Is it for your Goldilocks blonde hair? Maybe. No, I'm being serious. Like in reality, you've got to, the onus is on the company and the salesperson or the tech, whoever's doing the sell and whoever's doing the estimate, is to try and make an impression
Oh yeah.
on the customer in terms of what you're providing and how it's different from everybody else. Is it a Goodman? No, does it have a 20-year that doesn't exist? A
Not
15.
anymore.
Yeah,
You
right.
know what I mean?
I was thinking mattresses for a second.
Don't
There's
rip the
mat
tag.
there's mattresses that have 20-year lifetime warranties. We bought a mattress a couple of years ago. They're literally like twice as much. But at the time, I was really there because I was like, dude, our mattress starts sagging after 5, 6 years, regardless. Like, so
Yeah.
why not? Like, I can feel we're like
Yeah.
4 years in. I got a little trough where I sleep. And if I sleep in the middle, I'm on a mountain, right? And I go,
Oh
well,
yeah.
it's only been 4 years and this is
Yeah.
supposed to be a 10-year mattress. So like you've got to find whatever you guys are selling. What are you guys selling?
Rude.
Rude. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Honestly believe you're all in on that. And whatever the differences between those and Goodman and everything else, you've got to highlight that stuff and you've got to tell consumers because, and I'm speaking, this just happened to me. We're doing a project that requires relocation of a unit and everybody wants to put in a new unit. It's okay. Okay, fine. Fine. I will go with this idea as opposed to relocating it, even though it's only 5 years old. The numbers swing. So it's ductwork and all that stuff from
Hmm.
20 to 40.
Solid. Okay.
So $20,000 difference between the low and the high,
Yeah.
all looking at the same schematics, the same solution. Nobody told me what the difference is. Here's what you're getting. It's just, here's the estimate, here's the estimate,
Oh
here's
yeah.
the
No,
estimate. It's such a missed opportunity. I'm just going to go with the cheapest one.
for
Like it's a
sure.
no-brainer. Like it's no brainer. It's the difference between spending twice as much. Will it
Man.
last 3 times longer? Will it make eggs for me in the morning?
Yeah.
I
It
have no
better.
idea.
Hella great points, right? Like that's the biggest thing. I think like right now what we have going for it, like the separation factor is like I am a technician and I look at myself as a technician, right? But like when I go to do a sale, like I know what the fuck I'm talking about. You know what I mean? Like fucking this guy who was just selling Napa auto parts last week is now trying to sell you this 20 SEER inverter. And you tell me what he's going to tell you that, oh, yeah, your ductwork's good. But like, bro, that's 5 ton and you're taking a 12-inch off of it. Come on now. Like, nah, like in doing little things like that, like getting in the attic and looking at ductwork because ductwork in Florida is ass. Like, it's so bad. It's all fiberglass, spaghetti junction. And that's where our separation is. You know what I mean? That's where I look at it, right? It's having guys knowing what the fuck they're talking about. I guess that's the plan, right? When we have other people out in the field, it's not just going to be, like I said, the Napa guy or some BS like that. Like you're going to need to know. You need to. That's where
Right.
training comes into play too, right? So
Right.
like when customers do have questions, you ain't just be like, "Oh yeah, yeah, that's the inverter with the variable speed compressor that modulates." Like what does that mean to the customer? You know what I
Right.
mean? So if
Right.
you can't
Right.
break
You
it
have to
down,
you have to explain that you got to be where they are. You have to explain things in their language that they can
yeah,
understand because some customers are going to be engineers, some are going to be little old ladies and you have to figure out a way to explain, your solution, whether it's the size of the unit and oversizing a unit or the SEER rating or efficiency or air quality or
hmm,
whatever you're trying to layer on, but like you have to talk to them in their language or else it's not going to work. Not to be disrespectful, but like, talking as a tech, right? In terms of like, tonnage and SEER ratings and whatever, like that's going to work for the engineer, but that's not going to work for the little old lady,
yeah,
right? Like
yep.
her eyes are going to go glaze over and she's
Oh
going to be
man,
like, honey, do you want some more cookies?
Yeah, yeah. Oh man, I had shout out to Miss Shelby, the first full install for Busy, right? Like she just looked at me, what would you do? That system was 25 years old, right? And leaking R22. I said, Miss Shelby, I'm just gonna be honest. This is what you need. I didn't you don't need a damn inverter. You know what I mean? Like you definitely don't. But let's get you the rebate on the 15s here. That's gonna give you $2,000 back. Like easy peasy. Like and then she was like, okay. I sat down, talked. We've been helping her nurse that system along for the past 2 years because it's like take care of the customer. They'll take care of you. It's a great business to be in.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're in customer service. At least I am as a residential, HVAC business, and I love it because I like that interaction with every customer and being able to do that, look them in the eyes and form a relationship. Like we almost look forward to seeing each other. Like I said, the dude with the bourbon, he has a new bottle for me. He was sitting there as soon as I walk up into his garage. I'm like, what's up? You know what I mean? Or like they'll have the Coke under a napkin sitting there waiting for it. All that little stuff. How's the kids? They know
Right.
about me. I know about them. It's all about building relationships. So yeah, man.
So, last question. Now,
No.
again, going way back in time,
Yeah.
the roll back the time machine. If you could do the same thing and go through this all again and help other contractors or techs, go through a partnership and a purchase like you did, or we know how you did it through with sweat equity.
Sweat equity,
What
unconventional.
unconventional sweat equity, also known as a lot of sweat?
Yeah.
The actually, as a busy BAC owner, you need to know the answer to this question. Do bees sweat?
Of course they don't. They regurgitate. I don't know.
I actually don't know the answer to that
Yeah,
either.
I saw you typing it in. Did you look it up? Were you
Yeah, I
typing it
was
in?
I was trying to.
So there's like a symbolic thing to like the bee and the beehive, and then like the shape that we have behind busy, which is the hexagon. Like there's meanings that I couldn't tell you right now, but it's like a team building thing, which is pretty dope. Like, it's all about integrity and this, that, and the third. I'm like, yeah, that's what we stand for. You know what I mean? Like it's low key without knowing it, like had a meaning or like a principle behind it.
All two of us in our
Yeah,
strong honeycomb.
this beehive is gonna be the biggest,
I
but
like
like
that. If that's the case, I like that. That's good. My off-screen Googling did not
you
generate the
didn't
right
get it.
results. It was talking about how bees are attracted to perspiration. So your
It's
homework is to be sweat. So anyway, back to the question, Jacob. You're distracting me. The question was, what would you recommend to other HVAC owners, other HVAC contractors jumping into a partnership or a purchase of a company?
so I just have a goal and a vision in mind, right? And then timetables and stuff like that. So like if you're doing a partnership, be on the same page, right? Because generally, like I'm very like forward about like what goes on up here, to where it's like some people might like mince their words and kind of I don't want to hurt somebody's feelings over here. Nah, just be brutally honest up front and lay it all out there and then figure it out from there. And that's what I was from the beginning. I told him what I wanted, where my goal was, where my visions. We met there. He's the same type of way. You know what I mean? So it's like it worked. That's it. Like know where you want to go, like know where you're headed, and just be as honest as possible. I mean, that's all I can say. It's like from my situation, just keep it that way.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's great advice.
Yeah.
So anyway, well,
I
cool,
mean,
man. Well, it was awesome to have you. I appreciate you taking the time. Thanks for sitting down with us. And just so everybody knows where to find Goldilocks, where
yo,
do we
let's
find
go
them?
Goldilocks. The bears are here. Goldilocks, bears, honey, bees, it all connects. It's just like a 7 layers of Kevin Bacon. So
I feel like I saw a rebrand and actually is that is the Goldilocks and the Three Bears. Pretty sure.
it's going places.
You might have to do a collab with them.
For sure. We're gonna get together. You can check me out. Cooling with Kraus. Koolin with Kraus. HVAC on Instagram and YouTube. That's all I got. Check me out. But like on the YouTube, I'm rolling that stuff, like talking like strategies, what we're doing while I'm still obviously working in the field. Like I did a coil the other day, but then I showed we got the van wrapped and what I'm doing and putting a sign at a damn stop sign somewhere. You know what I mean? Like little things
Right.
like that. So you can find me on those. And
What about Bizzy? Where do we find Bizzy?
Bizzy, we're just getting that page started this week. Facebook, Bizzy Air.
Gotcha.
We're combining the old one. Like there's gonna be an overlay. Like we're keeping the old B&G up for now, as like I said, and then like the new customers that come in will be busy. And then like as we send our text messages, our automatic text messages from Service Titan, there it'll say like B&G now in parentheses now Bizzy Air. So like people know.
That's it. We look forward to it.
Stay
And
tuned,
yes, stay tuned for more from Koolin with Kraus.
my man.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Go get them.